And good evening, everyone. Time to get going with tonight's stream. Doing something different tonight. In place of the regular Friday night Fortnite, going to be doing a creative stream. Basically, what I'm going to do is record a bunch of Fortnite dances and then take them into HitFilm Pro, where I can isolate them and export them as keyable animations. Actually, the screen title or stream title says GIFs, and yes, it is GIF, not GIF. Anybody that says GIF is an idiot. But I want to be able to. I'm going to make them to WebMs instead of GIFs. But if I'd put WebM in the title, nobody would have known what that meant. But it's essentially the same thing. It's animated graphic with transparent background, and I'm still working on the commands. I need to get them all done before I do it. But it will ultimately. If I can remember the command, I think it's this. Yeah, let me do another one like that, and I'll do it full screen. See, at this point, I've done most of the non-dance emotes. I need to do the dances now. And apparently random isn't quite as random as I would like it to be. But that's what I'm looking at doing tonight. So what that's going to involve is jumping into the playground mode. I use the Ramirez model. I've got a close to but not quite base Ramirez model. Hop into playground mode. Make sure all my settings are cranked up. Yes, they are. Oh, and before we get started, just a heads up, there is a new emote in the shop tonight. I've already bought it. But it appears to be some kind of cross-promotion with the new Wreck-It Ralph movie. And it's on sale for 0 V-Bucks for a limited time. It'll be 500 at regular price, assuming they offer it after the promotion is over. Because before I purchased it, it was listed as 0 V-Bucks with 500 crossed out next to it. So that remains to be seen. Whether or not, once this promotion is over, it'll be available. Anyway, so what we're going to do is hop into playground mode. And I've got it set for time of day being daytime always. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. I just need it to be always daytime so the lighting stays consistent. And we're going to land at Risky Reels. Hey, Tizzy.
A jolly good
What's going on? See, it's going to be kind of a boring stream for you tonight because I'm not actually playing. I'm going to be recording a bunch of emotes and then editing them. So I'm doing this at risky because there's a giant chroma key wall to do them in front of. But on the other hand, I will be using that free editing program I was telling you about. Oh yeah, I forgot. The Wreck-It Ralph movie thing is playing here. Doesn't look like it's running now, but they've clearly got the projector turned on. Anyway, I need a couple of things before I get started. Mainly 2 shield potions or something similar that I can hold in my hand that won't show up. Bandages are fine. Yeah, dynamite's not going to do it. I should put that down before I'm tempted to use it. Because I need to do these so they start and end with nothing in my hand. Chug Jug will work. Alright. And everything else is irrelevant. So need a little metal. I don't know why I'm doing this, because I've already got a ton. Because you get so much more from Playground. And what I have to do is block out the light coming in this door. Because I don't want anything, any light bleeding in. So I'm going to put up metal walls all around it. I've also got to be careful not to hit the chroma key wall. Open that just so I don't have to listen to it. The extra sounds aren't a big deal because I'm going to replace them with the actual emote sounds. You know what? I put this up backwards. I need to see the other side of it because I use one of these bolt things for a reference. Alright, I'm standing about where I need to be. I've got to make sure I'm clear of this camera. You can't break the camera. I can hear that chest upstairs, but again, it's not that big a deal. Alright, so I'm a good distance from the wall. I'm not too close to the gray wall. Alright, I'm going to put my crosshair over that spot, and that'll ensure that I'm looking straight forward when I start doing these emotes. And now it's just going to be a matter of doing them. And I don't need to do that many repetitions of them all. Alright, I've got Battle Call. I've got some of these already. Like I said when I started, I've got a lot of the ones that are simply emotes and a few dances that I've already captured. But I need to make sure I get the rest of the dances. And now it's just going to be a slow process of doing them all. Really should be writing these down as I go. That was stupid. But that's okay. I already had a full loop before I moved the mouse. So let's reposition it. We got those. Let me write them down before I move on, so I don't have to move the mouse again. It's this one that makes me want that chicken outfit. And I wish they had done two versions of this, one for male characters and one for female characters. So you could have both the Job and the Lindsay variant. Alright, what's next? That was chicken, crazy feet. That's actually one of the longer dances I've got, because it seems to go on forever before it loops. And I know I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. Trying to get 2 to 3 loops of everything. Alright, that's that page, page 3. Flamenco. It's another long one. I just unlocked this one yesterday. That's enough. Now the really boring thing is that we're also going to have to come back and do all of this again in playback mode, or in replay mode. All right, floss. All right. Freestyle. Not one of my favorite dances. I can't remember if this one was from the Battle Pass or if it was the one you got when you activated two-factor authentication. Because I know I'd have never paid for it. This one I did pay for. Because I love the Carlton dance. Groove Jam. Page 5. Headbanger isn't a dance, I don't think. Yeah. I don't know if I've done it or not, so I'll go ahead and lay it down. I don't remember doing it. But that doesn't mean I didn't. I've done so many of these, they've all just kind of run together. If I did it, I won't have to do it again. If I didn't do it, I don't have to come back and record it again. Same with Hootenanny. I think I recorded this one before, but never finished it. But it's just as well that I do it now, because it will also give me consistent camera effects when I record them. This is the free emote that you can get right now. One more loop and call it good. Hype. Right. I know I've done that one, and I know I've done that one. So we'll move on. And I've done Llama Bell, I've done before. Llama Cadabra, I've done. But you know I'm going to do it again. Just to have consistency in lighting when I do these. Because every time I do a new set, it changes. My idol is just a regular emote. Orange Justice. I also hate this one. Alright, enough of that. What's next? Popcorn, Praise the Tomato, I've got all of those. Rambunctious. Apparently I can't spell with the lights off. card. Ride the pony. Well, knowing their alphabetical order means we're getting to the end. I've done Rock Out, Running Man. Slytherin. A lot of these I like the music track better than I like the dance. Star Power. This is another one I can't do yet because it's going to take a lot of work. Because that rainbow has green in it. I'm going to have to rotoscope it, and I haven't learned how to do that yet. I've learned the procedure for doing it, I just haven't actually tried it. Swipe it. Another dance I don't really like. And I don't really like the music that goes with it either. Some of their emotes and music are really good, others not so much. It's like a lot of the Battle Pass ones tend to suck, and they save the good ones for the ones that cost money. Where was I? Swipe it. Take the L, I've done the robot. worm. The worm's going to be a tough one to do because she's going to disappear to the floor. When I'm done, I need to do this one from another angle. Thumbs down, thumbs up, true heart. By the way, there's no way I'm going to do all of these tonight. I'm just recording them for now. And really, I'm only going to do the simple ones tonight. I need to get better at rotoscoping the others. Wave, wiggle. Was that the last one, or was there one more? Nope, work it out. That should have been the last one. Yep. So now I need to face north and do the worm. I don't even know what the sound effect for this one is going to be. And south. Make sure I'm looking at the same block. Alright, now that sucked. Because now it's got music. That was weird. I thought I remembered it having music. Tells you how long it's been since I've done the worm. Now, unfortunately, I lost my concentration with that and moved to stop instead of changing what I had equipped. So I hope I'm still close to the right place. Yeah, I am. Well, now it's doing it. Alright, well that was all of them. So that's all I need from the playground. Now I have to record all of that. And that's going to be a bit of a chore in itself. So I'm going to name this It's today, 23rd. See, I'd done a few dances as a test one day last week. Baller is where it's going to start. And the first thing I need to do is check my settings for the camera. Pop into drone free, because as I learned the hard way, these settings change when you change cameras. Come on. There we go. Need to make sure her feet are completely on the screen at the bottom. I need to make sure the ball isn't going to go off the screen at the top. Alright, that looks good. Not far enough back. And we will start to record. This one's going to be a little too complex to lay down tonight. Because there's all kinds of sound effects that go with the music. All right. And stop the recording. I want as much of her on the screen as I can get. It's 5:45. Turn on some light in here so I can see what I'm writing down. Alright, she never jumps or reaches off the screen. HUD, start the recording. I realize it doesn't show up on the stream, but the NVIDIA recording is starting thing shows up in its own recording if I don't wait for it to go away, which kind of sucks. You know what I just saw? Her foot comes off the front. Okay, that's troubling. Oh, there it is. Like I was looking for where this recording was. There it is. Because I need to make sure I get rid of it. Spent all that time looking at the top and didn't notice the bottom. I think there's a skunk outside, and that's not pleasant at all. Alright, start recording again. Theoretically, this should just take me straight through with most of these. I do wish there was a way to kill the ambient sound, because that would make the rest of this so much easier. Oh, this must have been where I stopped to get a piece of paper. Flamenco is the next one that might cause problems, just because of the smoke around the feet. Anything that has a light effect in it, like this one. Nope, this one's going to cause a problem too. That face. And record. Anything that's got light up color in it causes a problem with the chroma key. It's still coming really close on the foot, but it's not leaving the screen. I wasn't actually going to buy that dance, but then I came up with some extra V-Bucks from Save the World, and I figured, what the hell. Alright, let's see what flamenco does. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. I was worried that the smoke might go off the screen, but I think at this point she's far enough back because of the other dances that it's not. Of course, I've been watching her feet and not her hands, but it doesn't look like they're going to go off either. As funny thing about some of those dances, they're a little bit out of sync with the Foley. But I can fix that when I lay these down. Oh, I do love dances that don't move her feet and don't go up high. Well, this is taking longer than I had intended. I honestly planned to be moving on to the actual editing part of this by now. It's the Napoleon Dynamite dance, isn't it? Never seen that movie. I really need to learn how to import the models and animations into Blender. And this would take a lot less time. Actually, that's not true. It would probably take more time, but I would have more control over it. Where I wouldn't have to go to the playground, I wouldn't have to do each animation, I wouldn't be limited to one spot. Wouldn't have to do it each time I wanted to use a different skin. Uh-oh. I'm going to stop that one and do it over, because I am almost certain that it jumped off the screen. Yep. Slow it way down so it doesn't jump back as far. Naturally, I wasn't paying enough attention when it came forward. That ought to do it. I hate not resetting the camera after each one of these, but it just takes too much time. So I'm losing a little bit of ground every time I have to move it up or zoom it out. I say zoom it out, dolly it back. I feel like I should have turned sideways for that one. I'll make a note to try to remember to come back and recapture that one at a different angle. What about the llama cadabra? Is that going to need to move? I don't think so. It's awfully close, but I think it made it. And even if it didn't, I'm going to have to do some rotoscoping on that one anyway, so I can just fix it in post. Hopefully. Learning to do that is one of my projects for the weekend. I hate having all that empty space above her, but I just don't want to reset the camera for every single one of these. It'll be much easier to just change the size of the source in OBS. And that hand didn't go off. Strangely enough, that's one of my favorites. And the other thing is, I hope all these record without dropping frames, because I've never tried recording while I'm streaming. We're in the S's, almost to the end. This is one with green in it, so I know I can't do it tonight. And like I said earlier, I'm certainly not going to try to do all of these tonight. Anything with a light effect is going to cause a problem. Either it's going to key out or it's going to cast light on her and make her transparent. Being able to lock the day-night cycle down was the best thing in the world for doing this, because this gave me fits when I was trying to do it before they added that. Even by blocking all the light out. I mean, I knocked down everything except this chroma key wall and built layer upon layer of metal walls around it. There was literally no outside light coming in, and the ambient light color would still change. I even went to the basement of the house near Shifty. I don't like doing it there because the chroma key wall isn't as big, and there's a rug on it, so you don't have as much to work with. Alright, this will be the worm, so I need to watch it. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back and do this one. I'm not going to stop the recording, but I am going to pop up the HUD. So I can mark the time. And I'll come back and pick this one up again when I do the side worm. I'm going to have to zoom in out on this one, or dolly it back, I know. Yep. And I'm not going to stop it for this either. Because I'm almost to the end, and if I'm going to have to change the camera anyway, I may as well wait until I'm done with everything else so I don't have to change it back. The other downside to doing it this way, as opposed to being able to do it in Blender, is that every time the game updates, I lose access to the recording and have to do it all over again. So I can't just lay down the emotes one day and then come back to it in a couple of weeks. Though I have since learned how to cheat it. At least to a limited degree. Because you can take a hex editor and change 2 bytes in your outdated replay to make it think it's running on, or it was recorded on the current version of the game. But if it makes use of assets that were changed around in the game files, you'll get errors. Alright, that was the end of all the regular ones. So what I need to do now is go back to TrueHeart. That's the worm. And dolly out until I can see where those end. A little bit more so don't lose her foot. And this should have it. Alright, that's got the heart all the way up. Now I can see some of the wall over there to the right, but that's not a big deal because I can mask that out. I've never tried this one before. I don't know how these little sparkles will key. Alright. That's all I need of it. Now I need to go back and do the worm. That'll do it. I love how her hands never actually touch the ground. You probably see that happen from the side too. jump ahead to doing the worm facing other directions. Almost didn't stop moving in time. But that's good enough. No, it wasn't the first one. I have no idea what those two little moves were. Alright, and I'm going to go back and do height again from an angle, but I got to find it. Where's that? Headbanger, I'm close. Hit the camera. the actual camera as opposed to virtual camera. Which is why I hate that I can't break it. Can't get too far in, or her hand will reach out into the gray. Damn it. The drone either moves way too fast or way too slow. And its movement speed is inconsistent with its pan and tilt speed. So it'll move in 3D all over the place at a relatively good speed, while its pan and tilt are just painfully slow. So you speed up its pan and tilt, and it moves in 3D lightning fast. Pardon me. I don't know that I'll necessarily use this one. But I'll do it just in case. All right, and that concludes our recording footage portion of the evening, which took about a half hour longer than I was planning. But what can you do? I guess really nothing, now that I think about it. Don't start on me. Alright, so that's all said and done. We can exit out of the game. Not sure when the next update will be, Tuesday or Wednesday. But whenever it is, I won't be able to use that replay again. So, done with that. And what I need now is my program called HitFilm Pro. Which is launching even as we speak. Exit out of this. And there we have HitFilm Pro. Alright, HitFilm Pro is the paid version of HitFilm Express, which is a free editing program from FX Home. I highly recommend it because it's extremely powerful and it doesn't cost a dime. And unlike a lot of other free editing programs, you can actually buy the upgrade modules piece by piece. So if you don't need the full program, you only need certain elements, you can buy them for significantly reduced cost. But right now, I think through December 3rd, at least through December 2nd, they're having a sale for $100 off the Pro version. And I did the math. The modules that I really wanted, which were like some 3D manipulation of elements like bezel, emboss, and rotate, for layers in 3D, an advanced chroma-keyer, and a few others, like the module that lets you do higher-end rotoscoping. I did the math on all of that, and to buy these modules I really wanted would have been about $50 less than the cost of the full program discounted right now. So I'm like, screw that, I'll just pay the $50 extra, which is the price of another module I kind of wanted but couldn't see myself springing $50 for. And I get all the modules. So that's what I got happening now. Anyway, give me just a moment. I need to get a drink real fast. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, where was I? Oh yeah. So you can get the full version of HitFilm Pro right now, at least through December 2nd, for $100 off, which is cheaper than the cost of buying all of the modules, the add-on modules for HitFilm Express separately. And if you're doing high-end production, you also get a few extra things. But for most people, hobbyists generally, it won't really matter. So, what we're going to do, and you can see I had been working in HitFilm Express, and I had everything set up there, and just got HitFilm Pro today, so I don't know really all the ins and outs of it yet. Fortunately, it works just like HitFilm Express, because it's the same program with extra modules. However, I had all my settings and layout and everything set up the way I wanted it, and they don't import into Pro. So I kind of made a best attempt at setting them up, and there's new things that Express didn't have. So it I had to cram in some windows that I didn't have to worry about before in Express. So I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to do just a standard full HD at 30 frames. Hey Dave, what's happening? This is one of the things that Pro does that Express doesn't, and you can't buy an add-on for. 8-bit color versus 16 float and 32 float. Got to be honest, I don't know the difference. I did everything 8-bit color in Express, so I'm going to stay with it for this, and we'll go from here. Oh yeah, Steam's got that sale going on, and it's costing me a little bit of money too. Fortunately, I've had other things to spend my money on, this program being one of them. So I've avoided spending way too much money and only spent a little bit. This program was my big expense. All right, so one of the first things I need to do, and by the way, for anybody that didn't know, that is not the window I needed. Yes, it is. It's just not showing me what I thought I was going to be looking at. I've actually got a degree in radio and television, and spent many years as a television director before I gave it all up to get paid for sitting on my ass and playing video games all day. So that being said, yes, I've got some training in editing. However, not a lot. I did editing in school, and then once I got out in the real world, I focused more on directing. All right, so let's see. Where's my list? And that meant I'm not especially proficient at editing. Not as proficient as I'd like to be. Slide all of those down a little bit because I'm only going to be working in the one timeline. Now that was a little troubling. It didn't ask me like it normally does if I wanted to convert these to... there it goes. Maybe it doesn't do it if I pull them all down at once. The clips are recorded in 60 frames a second, and I'm working in 30 frames a second in the editor. And I don't want to convert them, because what I want to do is composite at 60, but output at 30. So now I'll select the rest of these and pull them all down. Now I can't take the chance that it might not leave them at 60. And all that time I spent working in master control and as a director, I really wish I'd been able to get more exposure to nonlinear editing. But, you know, that comes down to, one, availability of the equipment. Because, you know, somebody's always working on it. And 2, they're not going to pay me if they don't have a need to train me. Let's see, what was I looking at? Boogie Down is the first one I'm going to work on here. And I'm not especially motivated to do it if I'm not going to get paid for it. I've got one of my stream decks set up to do some common edit manipulations. Like frame forward, backwards, in and out. There's a trimmer function in this, but I've always been less than impressed with its results. It's entirely possible I'm just not using it right. But for what I'm doing in this project, it's easier just to do it this way. So I'm going to set up a couple of these. And find the first frame of the animation. And then where it ends. And trim it off. Oh, that was where I got the piece of paper, so there's a big delay there. I also want to make that bigger, which means I want to save this. You can't update the workspace, you can only save over it. I'm going to save this project as Fortnite Emotes 04. Move this one down here and we'll start working. Make a composite shot. And I forgot what this one was. Boogie Down. And I'm going to take composite shot properties from the clip so it'll stay at 60 frames. Yeah, okay. And rename. Look here. All right, now this is the advanced chroma keyer, which I have not been able to really use before because I only had access to the demo version of it in HitFilm Express. And while it was fully functional, it watermarked what I was doing. So I get rid of everything that's green. That's the wall, but now her pants are still showing through a little. Huh. The basic chroma keyer in Express, it worked okay, but it didn't do all of this stuff. So let me reset this because it didn't give me a separate foreground and background clip. So I'm getting to play with all kinds of new things. I mean, sure, I looked at it, but I didn't take it that seriously because I couldn't really use it since everything would have the watermark on it. The shadow. This little spot that's still on her. Got it? The goal here is to make her completely white, because everything that's white will be solid, or will be visible and solid. And that's what I was afraid of. Her wrist thingy, as it's referred to in Futurama. Is going to show through right there. Everything that's black will be transparent, and everything that's gray will be some degree of transparent. Pardon me. And the funny thing is, that should be blue and not green. See, it's blue. Let's take more blue out of the key then. that get it. As long as everything about her stays solid white, and I think this little bit right here is just a gap in the model between her shin piece and her leg. Yep. So that's nothing that's going wrong. And this is the thing that's tied around her arm. So that's still keying properly. See between her fingers there. It's something right there, but it's so small that it's not worth worrying about because it'll be lost in the background. All right. So we're going to call that a good key. Now the preview is low resolution, and that's fine. When it renders, it'll be full resolution. And if I stop it, it comes up to full resolution. So everything looks good. She's solid, and the background is completely invisible. It took like 2, maybe 3 effects to pull that off with the basic chromakeyed. I look forward to seeing how much more I can do with that, because that's awesome. All right, what else do I need with this? I need audio. Need to show the waveform. And as part of this, I need to pull up some other audio. So let me look through another window here. I need to find this music. And that's going to be a bit of a trick. Oh, maybe not. All right, so the next thing I need is program called Audacity. And I need to level out these. I found that -6 dB for all my music clips. MP3 to that folder at those settings. Setting everything to -6 gives me a consistent level across all my various music. And I've lost the other one. There it is. So you didn't see where I may have come up with these files, because that's like top secret stuff. Just suffice it to say, they're out there and I found them. So now I will drag these two pieces of music into a media list. I will turn on their waveforms. Now I need to match them. Sometimes that's easier than others. One of the reasons I hate all that background noise is because it confuses the waveform. But it looks like I'm going to get a nice peak right there that will match. And then that one is just a matter of scooting it down. So let's go back over here, back up to the top one, and set its audio to -60 so we won't hear it. And let's see how it sounds. Nope, bit of a gap. But that was to be expected because there's a bit of a gap in that one starting off. Let's see how that does. Yeah, it sounds fine. Now, it's still too loud, so I am going to take this one and set it to -4, and this one to -4, and see what we get. That's good. I've also discovered that -6 through Audacity works out to about -8 on the HitFilm, or needs to be about -8 on the HitFilm meters. Now that's not matching up farther down, and that's troublesome. But it doesn't make a difference, because nothing is really synced, and the music starts when she starts dancing. So it all works out. In fact, that probably makes it synced a little better than the actual recording. So next thing I need to do is make all of this fade out. I'm going to go at 1830 straight up. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to select this one first. Back up 10 frames. And then set it back at -4. So that will give me a very short fade out. Now I need to come up here, oops, in my transform for the video level. Where am I? Opacity. And this is where the audio starts to fade out. So I'm going to set a keyframe at 100%. And I could just count forward 10, but instead I'm just going to go down here and skip forward to that keyframe, then come back here and set the opacity to 0. So now it'll get to there and fade out. So we need to go back to the front and set an endpoint down to there. Or 1835, since 1830 is where it's at. Where it's all gone off. I'll set an out point at 1835, and that will, the exporter will use those points. All right, one down. Now, what I'm going to do is copy this. I don't know why it takes away my my track name. I mean, I know there's stuff that can be shown over here, but I'm not showing any of it, so why does it take away my track name? It's still there. I can mouse over it, but I'd much rather see it. Anyway, I'm going to right-click and copy. And then go back to my editor. And grab this one and slide it down. And this one is breakdown. Composite shot. Breakdown. Rename it. Just renaming it for my own benefit. And then paste attributes. And I want to only paste the chroma key, because the opacity is going to change at a different point, and I'm not ready to turn the audio off yet. But now I don't have to do all that work on the chroma key again. I do, however, want to double check it. But since all the lighting is the same, and the camera hasn't moved, it should look fine. Yep. Okay, this was what? Breakdown? So let me find that music. Oops. I need to turn this back to result. Nothing worse than forgetting to do that and have it render out with just the solid white matte. That's what I want. God, that is loud. Alright, where did Audacity go? Load that in. Select all. Amplify. 6. Export as MP3. I just have it save here because this is where most of my exports go. And I've got another folder up to make it exportable to somewhere else. Which reminds me, I need to make another new folder. All right, done with Audacity. Bring this one in. Drop it down there. And we'll see the waveform on both of them. I wish I could hotkey that. Alright, it looks like that's my point. Oops. Need to unselect video clip. Now I'll set the audio to 0 on this one. And we're going to set this one to, let's try -8. Nope. 6. -5. Ought to be about it. Yep, that's got it. That's where I want my 0 point. Go back 10 frames. And set it back to -5. And up here, have to do that. I can just select it and do it up here. Opacity at 100. Down here, jump to the next one. Back up here. And opacity at 0. While I'm here, set my endpoint. There we go. And 1445 for my out point. Let me save this just in case. All right, so I've got two. I've got boogie down and breakdown. So before I go any farther, I'm going to stop and export these. And I'm going to export them as I've made a custom one. It's really just the same as uncompressed with alpha. It's going to make an AVI file with alpha channel. So I'm going to export. I've got a choice to export the editor timeline, but that's got all the things on it. Or I can export any composite shot I've made. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to export breakdown from its in and out points. And I'm going to export boogie down from its in and out points as AVI alphas. And then I'm going to start them exporting. And it will take a second to do all of those, because even with a powerful computer, it's still going to be slow going. I set the preview to only show me 1 frame a second instead of to show me every frame that gets rendered. So now, nothing to do but wait for these two to get rendered. And then we'll move on to the next step. Since I couldn't import my presets from HitFilm Express, well, I say I couldn't. If I'd spent some time looking for where they're saved in the data files, I probably could have just copied them over. But I didn't have unlimited time to do that today. So it was easier just to open up Express and take screenshots of everything, then open up Pro and remake them. So that's what I did. All right, that one's done. And that gave me a chance to correct a couple of things I've been meaning to correct all along, bitrate-wise. I made that 450p for Twitter for making small clips so I could upload to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, where I didn't really care about the quality. I just wanted to display it so I could have a small file size. But for some reason, I had a higher bitrate on that one than I had for my 2 YouTube uploads. And I don't know why. So I fixed that. Now they all use the same bitrate. And the AVI alpha makes a freaking enormous file. The stream closer that I've been using, that I built off one of the Maclobuzz templates that I rebuilt for HitFilm. I had used one of the demo modules to make the text shiny and rotate as it appeared, and that was one of the modules I wanted to buy. And it looked really good, even though it was watermarked. But of course I can't use it watermarked. But now, theoretically, that file still exists, and all I have to do is load it up in this program, and then export it, and it'll work. Alright, those are finished. So, let me find them. Exports. Now I need a program called WinFF, which is really just a GUI front end for FFmpeg. And I've got some pre-built presets to make generic WebM files from. So now where is this? Boogie down and breakdown. So I'll drag those into it. And it's just a matter of selecting what I want. And it's automatically going to save to this. And convert. And it will do its thing again. And something I was messing with earlier today in how to make WinFF do a GIF, because that's not built into it. And I was looking up the all the command line arguments you needed to do it and to pull the appropriate palette out of the video file. And the version of FFmpeg that comes with WinFF is apparently old, and it won't accept those arguments. And once, because I'm like, I've got this in there, I just copied and pasted. It should be working. Why is it not working? Why is it telling me it doesn't do this? I'm even looking up the documentation for FFmpeg, and it says this is how it works. And that's when it dawned on me, maybe I'm using an old version. So I downloaded the most recent version, put it in there, and son of a gun, it worked. Made a beautiful GIF. What I don't know is whether or not that GIF was transparent. Theoretically it was, but I don't know. I need to put it on a web page to know for sure. Or I suppose I could load it into Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, and that would show me a transparent background. But everything else I viewed it on just shows the background is black. Anyway, so I'm like, great, problem solved. So then I ran another test to make sure that everything was still working for WebMs, and it wouldn't do it. So whatever is built in for this WebM preset doesn't work on the new FFmpeg. And again, this was one of those, I didn't have time to trace down what the error is. I figure an argument has changed. So I'm like, all right, well, screw it. I'm not actually going to make a GIF tonight anyway. I'm going to make WebMs. So I'll just switch back to the old version and go from there. And if I need to make a GIF, the preset's still in there. I'll just have to swap out the executables. And then sometime, eventually, I'll do some research and figure out what's breaking about the WebM in the new version. And the worst part about all of this is the waiting. I remember at the TV station where I worked in Houston, we Creative Services had nonlinear editing. But the guys that did the daily episodic promos that tagged them to say, like tonight at 10:30 or tomorrow at 10:30, whatever, that just put the tag on the episodics. They were still doing those with an ancient linear editor. And I hated using that thing. But they were the only ones that used it, so it kind of kept them out of the way. And they also did commercial production on that thing. But, the guy that did commercial production had been there for 700 years, and he was insanely proficient on it. So he just kept working on it. Why upgrade when what you've got works and you've got like the only guy in the building that's extremely proficient with it. So anyway, the promo guys worked on that instead of the nonlinear equipment. Then at some point they decided they would upgrade everybody to the nonlinear stuff. And I remember thinking, that's really going to suck, because they're going to have to redo these things every time. But fortunately, when they got the equipment for doing this, they didn't skimp on the storage space. So, yeah, it sucked loading them all in the first time. And sadly, I was part of that. But once we got it done the first time around, every time after that was considerably easier. Because then it just became a matter of drag and drop. Fortunately, I didn't have to keep doing that too much longer. And it's kind of a shame, because once the initial round of that was done, it was just so easy, it took practically no time to do it, as opposed to it taking all day, well, not all day, but all of my free time on the days I was assigned to do it. That's like in addition to my other duties. This was like an extra thing. All right, that's done. So shortly after all of that happened, I didn't have to do it anymore. All right, take this one. No, not that one. What am I looking for? This one and this one. Need to pull those out of stingers. Sorry, I'm looking through... looking through file folders now to put things where they need to go. So I can name them appropriately. I suppose I could drag it over so I can do it on stream. Fortnite Boogie Down. Breakdown. All right, now the moment of truth. Well, I say moment of truth. It's not the true moment of truth. I need to add them to OBS. So now you get to look at feedback while I add them in. Pull that out of the way so I can still see it. Where are they? Chroma effects. Media source. And breakdown. It's not going to loop, and I am going to close it when it's inactive. And turn it off for just a second. But there you can see. And add the other one. And this one is Boogie Down. Always hide your source when playback ends and close the file when active. You might have noticed I faded them out at the end. If you don't do that, the next time it starts, you'll catch a single frame of it when it starts up again. You'll also do that if you hide the source before it finishes playing. Now what I need to do is I need to copy the transform from this one and paste it onto these two. Oops, not that one, this one. Alright, and that one. Now I want to see if I've got this command loaded properly. I'm not sure if I do. Alright, that worked, but why didn't Boogie Down fire? There it goes. My eventual goal is to give those a cost and let people actually use them with points they get from watching the stream. And now take that away, because the feedback annoys me. So, that's how that works. And I've been going for over 2.5 hours, about 2:45. I apologize that the recording and everything took much longer than I'd planned, but what can you do? Anyway, I need to take a break for a little while, so I'm going to have to stop here. Naturally, I will continue working on this off stream, but that's going to do it for my stream tonight. Again, this editing program, HitFilm Express, is completely free. It's very powerful. I highly recommend it. And the Pro version is on sale, $100 off right now. And if you really want to know more about it, you can shoot me a message, and I can shoot you a link to it. or you can search Google for it. HitFilm Express. Yeah, so anyway, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and I will I? I don't know, will I? I need to change something. Yes, there it is. Going to try some more Red Dead Redemption on Wednesday night. Then next Friday night, back here for some more Friday Night Fortnite. We'll actually play Fortnite this time. Anyway, so, for real this time, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.